If you are receiving this transmission, you are the Resistance.
I like to give paradoxes or parables or examples of things in the real world and then align it to our minds, our souls, our bodies. It's not bad if you live in a big megacity because of your job and you like the metropolitan lifestyle. I mean, I like parts of it as well, other than the globalist crime syndicates that are creating lawlessness.
Yeah.
But why are all the rich and powerful people selling their penthouses for years and moving to the country? Because they know they're engineering a collapse.
The hottest contracts in town.
But more importantly than geographically moving away from the New World Order
That counts, June.
and from what they've done in the big cities, is geographically at the mental level, the spiritual level, deciding that you're not under their jurisdiction, you're not under their program anymore, and you're aware of how they're programming you from their own documents. And I'm telling you, it's amazing. If you just took the information in Reset Wars and used 10% of it, which I'm using because it's theoretical, incredible, but I'm using maybe 10% of it, and we've changed the world with that. It's game over for them. So everything they're doing is trying to suppress the Great Awakening that's happening. So we studied what is the cutting edge of the Great Awakening? What are they using to control us? Let's accelerate the exodus, not just out of the big cities, because you can do that. That's a smart move. I would do that. But also having an exodus of our minds in the world, but not of the world, as Jake Ducey was just saying earlier.
And that's exactly what has to happen. I was just reading back through this Vice News article, which apparently calls me apparently I'm a hypnotist. And it's what Alex always talks about. What they do is they project everything that they are. They've created an entire hypnotic
The whole course
system.
is about getting out of hypnotism.
Yeah, and they frame it in a way where they're afraid of this coming out, and they try to get ahead of the curve because they don't want this to get out. But they frame it in a way where they want you to think that it's weird or new age, even though they have 100,000, 200,000 documents explaining exactly.
And even though they're using those techniques, we don't want you in a near sleep state, asleep. We're trying to get you out of it. We want you to be aware that they're hypnotizing you. That's not hypnotism.
Exactly. And the reality is, that's why I said earlier, once we realize, we're already MK Ultra patients, you and me, then we can break out of it. All these same systems they use to take away people's entire minds, they're already using in a very complex system of microwave warfare. They call it non-lethal energy weapons.
The 5G is in the documents, literally, where it works as a communication system, but it can also be used because it's so rapid fire to fluctuate. Yeah, it's 1% as strong as a microwave oven, but it doesn't matter. It's how it hits your cells and flickers at their rate to trigger and program them.
Exactly. And my life changed once I realized that if we're gonna win, this isn't inner battle. That's what has to happen. So they're getting ahead of the curve, already trying to push people away from it, which, as we know, this is only gonna push people closer towards it. And when this happens, this is when we win. This is why you can be optimistic. If you're depressed, if you're stressed, if you're angry right now, I'm asking you to go join resetwars.com, because there's a lot of things that we can be optimistic about. There's more and more people waking up every single solitary day. And while, there's a lot of bad news happening, wouldn't you agree, Alex? More people are waking up every day.
Well, all the bad's happening because the globalists admit in their own WikiLeaks, they're trying to stop us from breaking free of them. It's very simple. And if you're aware of the fact that they know you've got the real you and they program this artificial you and they're trying to trauma-based mind control children from birth, no matter how much of this you've got, everybody's got some of it. It's very valuable, extremely valuable. I mean, I don't promote anything that isn't hardcore and valuable, and this is the most valuable information we've ever put out. I just hope you realize how powerful it is. And sometimes the most incredible stuff I put out kind of just lays forgotten for a decade or 5 years until people discover it and then figure it out once it's already come to pass. No. This is the future. This is next year's news. This is next millennia's news today. This is the future of consciousness now.
Yeah, the reason that I'm really optimistic and why I am up here telling you why you need to join Reset Wars is because the next iteration for us to win is not just learning what their playbook is, but realizing that we can do something about it. And everyone's role is going to be different. Yours may be a broadcaster like Alex, or yours may be in the medical system or the education system.
Stay there. You're going to take over the rest of the hour. I'm going to be listening in 60 seconds. Jake Ducey, stay with us.
Thanks.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show and InfoWars. I am filling in for the 4th hour here. My name is Jake Ducey, and I have to tell you, I never would have thought that I'd be sitting here right now on the Alex Jones Show, not only being on his show, but hosting the show. And here's what I realized when I was watching through. I've been able to watch through Alex's new online course, Reset Wars, I don't know, 6-7 times. I got to sit in the room while this whole thing was recorded. And here's what I realized. You have no idea. I have no idea what God really has planned for us. But the whole way that they win, the whole way that this system wins, is if we go, why is this happening? There's nothing we can do. It's making me so mad. But as soon as we detach from what Alex calls in the course, the emotional control grid, which is really the entire operating system of how they control everything. The emotional control grid, because emotion, Alex talks about, emotion is energy in motion. So our emotional states is energy in motion. We know that everything, including a pen, is really just a vibrating speed of energy. Well, the emotional control grid is all about trapping us in our energy and motion in very low planes of consciousness. When we're depressed, when we're angry, even if we know what's happening in the world, it's one thing to be informed. And then I realized as I was moving through this, I'm a lot more optimistic than I've ever been before. And that's because once we start to ask ourselves, what does God want from me? What am I really meant to be doing? What is the software that's been written into my operating system? Whether it's software from your parents and your upbringing you inherited, whether it's trauma growing up when you were younger, all of these things are running our operating system. 95% of our whole life is subconscious. So I'm sitting up here telling you, you might be listening and you're like, oh, why should I buy this thing? Or why should I do this thing? As someone who's been a fan of Alex for over 10 years, I can tell you this is the most important thing that he's ever done. The reason that this is the most important thing that he's ever done is because we cannot win unless all of us realize that we're more powerful than we ever imagined, and we've been running on an operating system that isn't even ours.
Bug already filled me in.
In the course, Alex breaks down how the mind control system works in trauma-based mind control. Now, one of the ways that this works, if you see this Elon quote here, he's talking about mental firewalls. And I sent this to Alex because the day before, Alex and I broke down this whole thing. The mental firewalls term comes from Richard Cesaro, who was the old director of DARPA. And in one of his declassified documents, he says that they are certain that because the mind has, quote, no firewall from incoming weaponry, then you can make people think, feel, and believe anything, and they don't even know what's happening. Well, this begins at about the age that you were 6 years old, because up until you're 6 years old, you're in a brainwave state akin to hypnosis. That's when all of the software starts to be written. And that's what makes us believe that we're kind of helpless, or that maybe what has you in debt slavery, or maybe that's what has you at the same level you were at last year in your career. But all of this is just an operating system that we can rewire. And if we can rewire the operating system to, become more optimistic, or rewire the operating system to improve our financial lives, couldn't we rewire the operating system to literally take down the Great Reset? Couldn't we do that? And that's why I'm saying, if 10,000 or 20,000 people in the InfoWars community come together right now, and you join Reset Wars, you go to resetwars.com right now, and you sign up to resetwars.com right now. That's how we win. Because we realize that we're all part of an MK Ultra experiment. It is a state of hypnosis to believe that you aren't as powerful as Alex Jones. You aren't as powerful as Joe Rogan. Well, Mark Zuckerberg has, and all the tech giants have all the power. That is hypnosis. It may seem like reality, but reality is a very small bandwidth of energy that we think is real. It's really not real. It's just a very small bandwidth of energy called visible light. And when we all go inside and we start erasing those viruses, guess what? The game's over. And at the beginning of the course, Alex talks about it's a movie called War Games. And I think he said it was filmed in 1983, I believe.
35.
And it's how the course starts. The course begins with breaking down what is the mind wars and what is the spirit wars.
Been a while since I got
And
to
he
run
says
my
in the
Eddies.
War Games in 1983
Last
film,
thing, Kentucky's got a strict
what
no-iron
if
policy.
you could win the
Security
game
is the works.
by no longer playing the
Dogs
game?
will leave your lead spitters in the ride. Take the flathead
What if you could
inside.
win the game by no longer playing the game?
Got some deft suits,
And that's
so
what Elon's
they'll look
talking
the
about.
part, too.
Once the firewall operating system breaks
Not
apart,
to count chickens, but why don't we see our Eddies?
then the mind becomes a totally clean
All
slate to
depends how Miss
recreate
Parker
reality.
avails herself of
So,
her
you know,
role.
one of Alex's most viral clips, everyone's probably seen it. You know, he goes on Joe Rogan and for 11 seconds, he says some stuff about how reality is created from higher consciousness, and everyone says, "Oh my gosh, that's the best thing of Alex Jones I've ever seen." Well, imagine moving through an entire course where Alex codified and organized all of this. Is an entire section all on quantum physics, where he breaks down what is the nature of reality, what is the observer effect, and how they use the observer effect to create predictive programming to control reality.
Why?
The observer effect, right? Which is everything that we think of as physical matter is made up of energy. That energy is made up of subatomic particles, and those subatomic particles sometimes are real, sometimes they're invisible. Sometimes they're particles and sometimes they're waves. They're energy in another dimension. Well, those subatomic particles make up all of reality. They make up your bank account. They make up our general social stability in our world. They make up your relationships, your health. They make up the entire history of where humanity is going next. The observer effect, that consciousness creates reality. So Alex breaks down how they use this on a collective level and a personal level to control you. One of the ways they do that is through predictive programming, collective unconscious hypnosis, which is when we were at last section, Alex and I were talking about how there's two modes of consciousness. One is reactionary and one is creation. When they trap you in reactionary consciousness, when they trap me in reactionary consciousness where we say, we're screwed, we can't do anything about it. Once they trap you in that, you are then using the observer effect to create your own enslavement. People do it with their finances all the time. People do it with their career all the time. They think it's because the New World Order controls the financial system that they can't retire their parents, that they can't move their finances to the next level. They can't double, triple their income, use all that extra money to fund a movement in their community, to build a new education system, to fund a new doctor's office, a new private practice that doesn't abide by the medical tyranny system. This is what has to happen for us to win. And so when I'm standing up here and I'm telling you to go to resetwars.com, I can tell you assuredly and honestly, this is the most powerful Alex Jones probably film piece of content you have ever seen in your entire life. We can say honestly, not as some sales gimmick, we do not know how long this is going to be available. Before this came out, Vice News hit us with a hit piece on it. I don't know, apparently called me a hypnotist, even though I'm not. What are they doing? They're trying as quickly as possible to run damage control on this because they don't want this coming out. With leaving some of the details out, we've already had attacks on softwares, operating systems before it's even come out. It's been constant trying to put out a fire to recreate this. We don't know how long this is available. This is the best way to fund the InfoWars operation because it moves them away from the supply chain disruptions. So go to resetwars.com right now. Click that green button right there that says Join Reset Wars Risk Free. Click that button. Join Reset Wars right now. It's 25% off until 11:59 p.m. on Wednesday. Go to resetwars.com. You can get these files immediately, even if they shut the website down. Resetwars.com. Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. This is Jake Ducey here, and I am here in honor of the release of what I believe is the greatest thing that Alex and the InfoWars team have ever created, and that's Alex's brand new online training, Reset Wars. I've had the privilege and the honor to watch this through 6, 7, 8 times. I actually got to sit in the room and watch this entire thing live. And so when I'm sitting here telling you this is the most powerful information you're ever going to come across, this is what they don't want you to know, I'm not just saying it. We've already had Vice News attack us. We've already had without getting into the details. We've had numerous issues with program software systems, things getting shut down in advance of this coming out. They don't want this out. And so for the next 48 hours, it is on sale 25% off. 25% off for the next 48 hours. So you can go to resetwars.com right now and sign up. And I can tell you honestly that this is unlike anything Alex has ever done before. There's a lot of stuff that we can't say while we're live on air here. But this is different than the show. First of all, this is Alex in a way that you've quite literally never seen before. And second of all, what this is starting to do is peel back the layers on what this whole agenda is really all about. And Jack Posobiec, he tweeted quite a while ago that the most underrated aspect of this takeover is that it is really a psychological war.
Not so much your
That the most underrated aspect of this is that it's really a psychological war. It's a psychological war to do a few things. It's a psychological war to convince you that you aren't good enough, to convince you aren't smart enough. It's a psychological war to make you destroy yourself. Because once we're in these lower emotional states that Alex talks about in the course, the emotional control grid, then what? Then we have to sabotage to get away from those emotional states, which is why we have such an incredible rise in overdoses, in alcoholism. Why? This is designed to do this. They don't win by us just knowing their plans. They lose when we know what their plans are, we reverse engineer their playbook, and we start to use it in our everyday life. And that's what Reset Wars is all about. And that's why I'm standing up here telling you that this is the greatest thing that he's ever created. They don't want this out because this is when the shifts finally start to occur. When we ask ourselves these questions, what does God really want from me? What am I really capable of? Because we're not going to win if just Alex Jones and Joe Rogan are out there fighting the fight. Like, I had no idea that I would ever be where I am in this very second right now. Because God has a plan for you. Your soul has a plan for you that's so much bigger than you can possibly imagine.
Don't worry, got this.
So, in order to stop that flame, they have to throw as much psychological warfare at you as humanly possible to trap us back in the lower dimensions of consciousness, so we don't realize we're in this world, but we're not of this world. Because once we realize that we're in this world, but we're not of this world, then what happens? We wake up to the entire control grid. We no longer give our power away to the giant mega churches. We no longer give our power away to the experts. This entire system starts to fall apart, and that's why they're rushing to push all of this across. So right now, if you are feeling depressed, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling unsure, it's because they want us to stay trapped in those emotions. But there is a way out of it.
This should only take a moment, sir.
And that's why Alex put together Reset Wars. So you might be wondering, what's in it? What's it about? So Alex broke this down in 10 or 11 chapters. Each chapter is breaking down from the start. What is the mind wars? What is the spirit wars? Taking you inside your own mind to find out how the operating system for your own mind and your own life was built, how to rewire it, going through the history of mind control, going through the history of quantum physics and the nature of reality, and how this seemingly esoteric nature of reality is actually a very practical scientific reality that they've carefully engineered in order to create this control grid.
Excuse me?
Because we think, well, they're controlling us. In reality, they are not. In reality, we are controlling ourselves through the observer effect by staying in a reactionary consciousness. And the whole way that this works is for us to never awake to that. But once we do awake to it, the game's over. The game's over, the game's finished. So that's resetwars.com. You can go ahead and you can sign up and become a founding member right now at resetwars.com. And I've been able to show this to a handful of my friends and family. I've had people come up and quit drinking alcohol after watching this. I've had people just really have their lives changed by it. And so I tell Alex, I say, this is going to be the thing that someone's going to walk up to you and their whole lives going to have change from this. And this is why it's so important, because this is an energy game that they're playing here. This is an energy game. It's not just a news game, it's an energy game that they're playing and that they're operating here in front of us. And once we have that shift, then the game's over. So the question is, who am I? Who am I really? And why am I really here? And that'd be my challenge to you. That'd be my invitation to you, to ask yourself that question today. Who are you really? And Alex breaks this whole all of this down in the course. That's why I'm saying go to resetwars.com and sign up right now. 25% off for a limited period of time. This is unlike anything Alex has ever put together. But he says, who are you? Well, you aren't a body. Because we know through Curlin photography, which is in many declassified CIA documents, this looks like my body ends right here, and who Jake is ends at my nose, and it ends right here. I'm really a field of energy. My field of energy extends far beyond my own physical body. And that's why they have energy weapons. That's why they call them non-lethal energy weapons. That's why they have low radiation frequency patterns, microwave patterns, because it's designed to trap you in your emotions so you think you're just a physical body. But you exist on 3 planes: the mental plane, the physical plane, and the spiritual plane. So who are you really? There's an example of Krillin photography right there. So I want you to look at your hand. It's just a mass of energy. It looks like a solid object, but it is an energy field. And ask yourself this question: can I feel the energy in my hand? Can I feel the life in my hand? Can I feel spirit in my hand? Don't ask your mind that question. It's not a yes or no. But I invite you to take a breath. The number one thing they don't want you to do is ever take a breath, right? Because they need to keep the nervous system in a state of constant flux. Because when the nervous system is in a state of constant flux, they win, they control. See if you can feel the energy in your hand. And when you feel the energy in your hand, you wake up to the fact that you aren't a body. There was a time in my life where I said, if somebody said, who am I would say, well, my name's Jake Ducey. I'm 200 pounds. I have blue eyes. This is who I am. That's not who I am. It's like saying that I am my fingernail. So then it opens this door where you may have thought powerless with what's occurring. You may have felt powerless. You may have felt like you couldn't do anything about it. I'm here to tell you, you can do more than you could possibly imagine. Do it for your family. Do it for me. Do it for my daughter. Do it for your grandchildren that aren't even born yet. Do it for every person in your community. When this happens and we realize how powerful we are, they cannot control us. So please do me a favor. Go to resetwars.com right now and sign up. That's resetwars.com. Open up your phone, open up a new tab, go to resetwars.com. So I just got word that the early bird signups newsletter was just sent out, and there was a massive flood of traffic to the resetwars.com website. And so we want to thank you for that, because we've already had these attacks on many of our operating systems and softwares before we got out. It's obvious they don't want this information out. So if you have any trouble with load time, anything like that, bear with us. But you want to go there now, because we're doing a 48-hour 25% off. Yeah, you can get 25% off. But what's a lot worse than not saving the 25% is literally not being able to get this. It's a genuine concern of ours, is that this will go down. This website will go down. Now, here's the best part. When you go to resetwars.com right now, you click the button to join, and you support InfoWars financially and join, you get the files immediately. You get the course immediately. So if they shut this thing down, you're good. You have it. And so that's why I say, what's a lot worse than not just, you get 25% off, it's amazing. But what would be a lot worse is literally not being able to get this course in 72 hours, is that it's not available.
Surveillance.
And we're seeing that. I mean, I don't even know why, but for whatever reason, they threw me into their pit of attacks in their Vice article, claiming I'm some kind of a hypnotist or something like that. But that's not what we're doing. We're exposing how they've built this system. And so if you're just joining here, my name is Jake Ducey. I'm filling in for Alex today on the Alex Jones Show in the final hour here. And I'm filling in honor of his new course, his new program. and that is Reset Wars. Reset Wars is a step-by-step system, breaking down the nature of reality, breaking down your connection to God, spirit, and how, most importantly, we defeat the Great Reset. And one of the chapters that I really love, it's a shorter chapter in the course, because I got to watch this whole thing be filmed. I got to watch this course in addition to it being filmed live another 6-7 times, something like that. And one of my favorite parts is called Beyond the Great Reset, right? We know what the Great Reset is. We hear about it all the time. Alex talks about it all the time. I don't need to come on and discuss it. But one of the things, just to show you that this is things you're never going to hear on the show, things broken down in a way like never before. We're probably going to have like Klaus Schwab open up his credit card and he's going to be like, oh, they're talking Beyond the Great Reset, Chapter 2, shut website down instantly. So this is why you want to sign up for this right away. This is why you want to join to this right now. You want to open up another tab. I know you might be driving in a car, you might be doing something, or you might just like, you're not sure if you want to buy it.
Terrarium's got a control panel.
First of all, it's 100% money back guaranteed. Second of all, open up another tab in your phone or in your computer right now and go to resetwars.com, hit the join now button, and become a part of what we're doing, because this is how we win, right? This is how we win. And speaking of Klaus Schwab, who's probably sitting there watching the chapters trying to figure out how to take it down, once he comes across chapter 2, he's not going to like it, because Alex breaks down in a way that I've really never heard. You know, sometimes you get glimpses of Alex like this in a Joe Rogan episode or something, but it's off the cuffs and they're having fun. This is thousands of hours of research put together and organized in a manner that you can directly apply into your life. And the chapter Beyond the Great Reset says, basically what he does is he breaks down why is all of this occurring? Right? Of course, it's because they want control, but much deeper than that. And he talks about how all of it is designed, whether it's the shots, whether it's the metaverse, whether it's the fourth industrial revolution and transhumanism, it's all designed to alter your spiritual and physical DNA and your connection to God, right? Because the point is trap you in the metaverse. So you sit there and you duct tape this metaverse thing on. Mark Zuckerberg never wants you to take it off, and you sit there and you're in your metaverse and you're sitting there and you only get to stop when he feeds you some ground up cricket protein powder, right? And he wants us to stay in that forever.
Looks like he's having trouble.
Shit.
The shots, right? We've even had Forbes came out last week and they said, well, actually, this does modify your DNA, but ever so slightly, and it's good for you. Just like they now say inflation is good for you. That was like a Forbes article, I believe, where they said, yes, these shots do modify your DNA. So what is it all for?
He's at it.
It's because it's designed to disconnect you from your spiritual identity. Why did they hate Jesus? Well, because Jesus was showing people how to wake up. Because Jesus was saying, hey, I'm in this world, but not of it. And when you realize you're in this world, but not of it, the control systems of this world cannot control you anymore, which is why they burned the books, which is why they deleted parts of the Bible, which is why they didn't like Jesus, and which is why they tried to shut down Reset Wars before it even came out.
Dweller won't realize
And I'm not comparing Alex Jones to Jesus. But what I am saying is it's the same game.
Dead to the world, that one.
Once we realize that we're in this world but not of it, and once we realize we're living on 3 planes of existence, and Alex breaks all of this down in the course. Open up a tab right now on your phone and type in resetwars.com. Open up a tab on your browser right now, another tab, and go to resetwars.com and sign up right now. There's literally no risk whatsoever. It's 100% money back guaranteed. I'm the one taking the risk here because I'm coming on air and I know I'll have some nice articles written about me here very shortly, some nice pleasant ones. But this is how we win, guys. This is how we win. And so Alex breaks down all of this stuff that you will never hear anywhere else beyond the Great Reset. We exist on 3 planes, and he breaks that all down. We exist on the physical plane, the mental emotional plane, which is the emotional control grid, the coin that he termed, the term that he coined in the course, the emotional control grid, which is the mental and emotional plane, because everything's energy. So the mental is the energy waves of consciousness, and the emotional plane is emotion, energy, and motion. He breaks down what is an emotion. It's energy and motion in the course. So you exist on the physical plane, the mental and emotional, which is where they try to trap us into the emotional control grid. Even when we're awake, right? Even when we know what's happening, we're still trapped in the emotional control grid. He shows how to break out of it. And then last is you exist on the spiritual plane. And this is why they're rushing out the metaverse. This is why they're rushing out the shots and now admitting, yes, it does alter your DNA, because they need to alter your DNA to control you.
I will.
And they're not just going to do it with shots, they're going to do it with everything. And this is why the whole end game of this whole system, end game, right? The most popular coin, the most popular term in InfoWars, end game, right? Alex's most famous documentary ever. The end game is to trap you in a physical body and disconnect you entirely from higher spiritual energy. So the course breaks down, how do you connect back to that power? In the course, he talks about how to look at the word inspiration as being in spirit. When you're connected to God, when you're connected to God's will for you, and you're no longer controlled by the lower emotional control grid emotions, fear, doubt, worry. Am I powerful enough to do something about it? Because that's what happens. We don't think we can do something about it. So we sit here, we watch Alex, we learn everything that's happening. But then the next step is to realize you can be just as or more powerful than Alex, or just as or more powerful than Dr. Zelenko, or just as or more powerful than Joe Rogan, Mike Adams, Jonathan Isaac on the Orlando Magic. Whatever it is, this is how we win, and this is the game. So I can tell you honestly, from the bottom of my heart, this is the greatest thing Alex has ever created. And I can say, as no type of gimmick, we really do not know how long this is going to be available. It was very ironic that Elon Musk's tweets about your mind as a firewall and your mind as a software came out 24 hours after Alex and I aired a segment about it. These are very specific terms. Your mind is a mental firewall. It's obvious Elon Musk is watching this. It's obvious Elon Musk knows what's happening. And what else is obvious is that they prepared for this. They launched that Vice article attacking Reset Wars just 48 hours before the course came out. So we don't know how long this is going to be up. We had issues with some of our softwares terminating us before. But we don't know. So I want to encourage you to go to resetwars.com right now. Open up a tab, open up a browser. It's resetwars.com and sign up right now. Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I am Jake Ducey, filling in for the final hour here on the Alex Jones Show. And I'm doing that in honor of Alex's new online course that is Reset Wars. But this is more than a course. This is the exact enemy playbook that Alex has been studying for 28 years. He codified it, he broke it down, and he gives you exactly how to reverse engineer it into your life to improve your finances, to defeat the Great Reset, to break out of the mind control system, and to, I think, most importantly, spiritually awake. And I think that's how we really win. And so I want you to open up your browser right now, a new tab on your desktop and your phone. Go to resetwars.com. It is officially live. It is officially available. You can move through Reset Wars right now. So that's resetwars.com. We've already had, as we mentioned, numerous attacks, whether it's been attacks on our software, whether it's been some media attacks that seem to be planted in advance, knowing that this is coming out, which makes me go, well, are they monitoring some of our systems? I mean, we know our biggest threat with this course is going to be keeping it on air. And that's why I'm encouraging you right now. You get 25% off if you go sign up right now. 25% off if you sign up right now. But more than the 25% off discount is the worst situation is if you don't sign up right now and they shut this down. You're going to get access to this immediately, and even if they're able to successfully shut this down in the future, you will still have everything. You will still have everything. So that's resetwars.com. So let me just break down a little bit of how this even came to be. So what happened was I was coming to interview Alex totally separately, and I just said to him, hey, you know, I love your show. I love everything you're doing. I love everything you stand for, and I think it's important what you're doing. And I think there's so much more depth to you, and you've learned so much, whether it's secrets of success. I mean, this is a guy that recorded in his closet and then became one of the most powerful people in the world. So if you think whether it's you're starting music from ground zero, you're starting your entrepreneurial endeavors from ground zero, whether you think you're trying to start your own medical practice from ground zero, or maybe you've been inspired by God to do it, but then you feel afraid and you're unsure, right? Because I believe that God's all calling us to do something bigger. Well, Alex is someone that went from his closet becoming one of the most powerful people in America, one of the most feared and revered people in America. You're gonna learn the exact step-by-step process, exercises, mindsets, tools that Alex was able to use so you can apply them into your life. Not just so you can defeat Klaus Schwab, but so you can radically change your personal life. It's resetwars.com to sign up. And you're gonna learn all types of amazing things that you've never heard. I had no idea when I was watching this course recorded live. I didn't know that Alex was just some little kid in middle school that decided one day he was going to go on the radio and defeat all these people and reach millions of people. I mean, it's a perfect example of just having an inspired vision and then being able to implement it. And that's what you and I need to be doing. And so you're going to learn all these amazing stories additionally. Things like I learned that when he was starting his career, or when he first decided he wanted to do radio, right? There was a local contest in Austin radio. And he was in middle school. And they said, well, cut a 1-hour show, submit it to this radio station with your own ads, and we'll pick a winner. So Alex does his own mock show as a middle school kid, submits it, and then is waiting to hear if he won. Oh my gosh, am I gonna win? Am I gonna win? And the big radio announcer on local TV pulls up Alex's radio show and ends up just making fun of him for the whole day. Going through all of his clips, look at this idiot, look at this idiot. And that was where he started to becoming the person that he is today. And so you're gonna learn some amazing stories like that you never heard before, but it's not because it's just like about Alex. The reason that this is so important is because once we internalize this, once you move through this course, when you find your favorite chapter, when you find your favorite section, you watch it again 3 more times. He's gonna give you some very powerful secret exercises and tools that you can actually do. Like, this isn't just theory. And when you do them, I mean, this is why they're trying to shut this down in advance. And so anyways, this is how this all came out to be is I said to him when I was just interviewing, hey, you know, you should do something like this. And he said, well, maybe we should call it Reset Wars. And I said, yeah, you should do it.
What's the play?
And he said, well, could you just give me, you know, some bouncing walls so I could throw some ideas off you? And all of a sudden, next thing you know, Alex has went to a level of depth of research. Every day you see him with like all these, I got the documents, right? And that's like Alex going on Piers Morgan, telling him he's got the documents. Well, picture all this times 1,000,000 for the amount of research the entire team put through. And know that when you join Reset Wars today, not only do you have 100% money back guarantee, literally, there's 0 risk for you. There's 0 risk for you. And you may be like, I'm not sure I want it. Well, your son might, your daughter might, your cousin might, your best friend might need it. And so I said, Alex, you're inspiring all these people with the news. You're covering all these amazing details of what's happening. And I said, well, what about there's one more layer for us to win? We inform everyone. We put the whole system together. Everything you do already on this amazing InfoWars team and all the other shows you guys do. Well, the next level is let's teach people everything that you learned. And about 10 years ago, he tried to write a book with the very famous Neil Strauss, the guy that wrote all those huge New York Times bestsellers. And he was going to break down the secret history of the world. Well, turns out the editor that approved that project got fired. They shut down the entire project, and they were afraid of that type of stuff going out. Well, now imagine how much more powerful this information is today. That's what Reset Wars is. That's what Reset Wars is all about. And that's why they try to shut this down in advance, because they don't want it out. And every day, you know, I run across talking to people and people say, we're screwed. And I don't think we are. I think all of this is happening so that we wake up. I think you chose to be here for a reason, and I don't know what your reason is, but your reason is different than mine. I had no idea I'd be sitting here on air, guest hosting the 4th hour of Alex Jones show. And you have no idea where God is going to push you. But if you accept the free will to not just be informed of what's happening, but to go from learning it to living it, that's when the game changes. Right? Because Jesus didn't just say, hey, there's evil forces. He didn't just say, here's what's going on. He said, well, here's the key to totally break out of the system. You're in this world, but not of it. And tyranny is always designed to keep you trapped into the physical world. It is always designed to keep you, as Alex.
Well, that's right, Jake. And I was in there working on stuff, eating lunch, watching you doing a great job. Before Owen takes over here in just like 4 minutes. But guess what we just learned while I was in Rob Dew's office eating lunch and watching you?
What's that?
Hillary Clinton has a multi-$1,000 master class, which is 4, 5, 6 times what we're charging, teaching people that men are the problem. It actually says how to overcome the resilience of the male hierarchy and how horrible men are. So teaching a bunch of women to be victims and hate the other side of humanity when we have that magic literal union of men and women coming together that God created. Imagine how satanic that is. So here we have a course using the MK Ultra program, how to break out of it, exposing their whole system, invaluable information, listeners. I don't BS you, you know this, for literally 200 something bucks that we put so much into with a team of over 40 people involved and a whole new system launching from it. And then we went and read the synopsis. We got to do a thing on this. Hillary Clinton has a multi-$1,000 masterclass bitching for 5 hours about how much men suck when she helped run giant pedophile rings for other people and raping women in mass. I mean, this is unbelievable. So, folks, we want to make this the #1 self-help class out there. I guarantee compared to everything else, it's next level. Nobody's ever done this. It is resetwars.com. You got less than 48 hours, like 40-something hours now to get 25% off. But regardless, it's great information, resetwars.com. Or you can go spend your money with Hillary Clinton, and I want to thank you all for your support.
Here's what we got to do. Hillary Clinton's got that coming out. We got to beat Hillary Clinton. If you want to take down the globalists, if you want to show them how powerful this movement of awakening really is, let's just put it right in their face. You know, Hillary's going to be on all these shows and they're going to be talking up her courses and how great they are. And it's just designed to put you right back into the control system. Even if you were unsure about getting this before, go to resetwars.com right now. Let's show Hillary Clinton that we can sell more courses than her. Let's show Hillary Clinton that we can put together an actual system that's not going to show you how to be a victim. This is the actual keys of consciousness and the keys of the universe designed to help all of us.
No, I'm going to take the Hillary How to Be a Demon Globalist course for $3,000. Unbelievable, man. It's okay. I'm sorry. Jake, you're going to be back with us tomorrow, host of the 4th Hour again. We'll make it all about Hillary Clinton. Resetwars.com, 25% off right now. Order it, folks.
So we want to thank you for coming on here today. We'll be back tomorrow. Open up a tab, an extra browser. Go to resetwars.com.
Jackie, you're bleeding.
Worry about me later. Check the relic. Container depressurized. Biochip integrity at 94%. Fucking drop it. Carajo.